Question 19. Two acids P and Q with the same concentration and volume are reacted separately with the same mass of magnesium ribbon. That means we are going to form a salt and then hydrogen gas will be produced also. The reactions produce the same total volume of hydrogen gas, but acid Q reacts more slowly than acid P. That means acid Q is weak. It's a weak acid. And then acid P is strong. Weak acids like ethanoic acid, those organic acids. And then these are mineral acids like HCl. We have sulfuric acid, nitric acid, phosphoric acid, like that. And since here they are talking about ionization, then acid P, which is strong, ionizes fully. Okay, this one ionizes fully in solution to give us, so if I may write this one here, to give us a high concentration of hydrogen ions. Okay, and if I write this one as maybe HB, the weaker one, then we shall have this is for Q, this is for P. So when it ionizes, it does so partially, and then it produces a small concentration of hydrogen ions. So here, since it has, pardon me here, I used B, so this one has to be B minus. Since it has a low concentration of hydrogen ions, then there will be a very high pH here. The pH will be high. Okay, then here we shall have a low pH, because we know that pH is dependent on the hydrogen ions. The more hydrogen ions you have in solution, okay, then the less the pH. Okay, if you have very low concentration of hydrogen ions, then you have a higher pH, because in that case you are having more of the OH ions. You see that? So now what are they saying here? Which explanation for the difference between P and Q is correct? Acid P has a higher pH than acid Q. You have already seen here. It has a low pH, then this one has a high one, so a higher one. So this one has to be off. Acid P has a lower concentration of hydrogen ions. This one has a high concentration of hydrogen ions, and then this one has, in fact we write it like that, then this one has a low concentration of hydrogen ions. So this one is also off. Acid Q is partially dissociated and acid P is fully dissociated. This is exactly what I've done here, so that is correct. And then acid Q is a proton acceptor. How can an acid be a proton acceptor? Acids are proton donors. Okay, what do we mean by proton donors? They release the protons. Hydrogen ions are the protons that we are talking about. Why? Because hydrogen has one, if this is the nucleus of hydrogen, it has one electron in the outermost. So it has one proton in the nucleus and then 0 newtons. Okay, then in there is also an electron here orbiting the nucleus. Now if it loses this electron and it becomes hydrogen plus, it is hydrogen plus here because the protons are positively charged, so it remains with that positive charge of the proton. So the electron is not there, now it is moving as a proton only. That is why we call it the proton. Hydrogen ions, we call them protons, and then we say an acid is a proton donor. Okay, proton acceptor is actually base, so the answer has to be C. Question 20. Which process is not used in the preparation of an insoluble salt? Filtration. This one can be used because if it is insoluble, you have to filter. Whatever is soluble goes in the filtrate, and then what remains on the filter paper is your insoluble salt, which you are going to dry, wash, and then dry between the filter papers. Okay, then washing. So washing is also there, because after pouring here, and then if this is our container here, this is the filtrate, you are going to get your wash bottle and then you pour here water. Okay, when you pour water here, then that means you're going to get whatever dissolved substances are still in here on this residue. You pour there such that it goes through and everything is now gone inside here. So there is washing, then there is drying. Okay, after here you dry between the filter papers. Crystallization is actually for the soluble substance, where you get that solution, you heat it, then crystals will form slowly by slowly as water is being evaporated when you put it in an oven. Okay, or somewhere for some good days in a warm place, water will go off and then you find your crystals forming. So crystallization is actually for the soluble salt.